Alright everyone, so straight to the point here. D&D Beyond just released a new free adventure for everybody on their site, so if you haven't claimed it, go ahead and claim that. This video is going to be my tutorial of how to set up the scene to run the Lost Caves of Tsojcanth, or however you pronounce that. I have made a map of my own and I have shared that for free with the community. It's on my Patreon page, so if you can go to the description down below and you can click the link. It's free, you don't even have to log on. Just download the zip and go crazy, use the files and set up your scene. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that on Foundry VTT. If you don't have Foundry VTT and you have Roll20, the initial steps will be different, and where you go, where you click is gonna be different. But I am sure you can also do something similar on Roll20 and other VTTs. So my map is originally 100 pixels per inch, which means that it fits on Foundry grid perfectly. So we're gonna go ahead here and we're going to create that scene. So the module you're gonna need is Universal Battle Map Importer. You can see that when you have Universal Battle Map Importer enabled on the Scenes tab, where you create your scenes, it's gonna have this button here at the bottom. So we're gonna click that button and it's gonna show up these things here. So I'm gonna choose the directory in which my map will go. In this case, it's gonna go on assets/battle maps. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And here I like to have padding at 0.05 so that I don't have too much of an area around the map, but I have some area in case I need to drag a token of a dead monster or I need to keep something hidden. So I always keep it at 0.05. And then I want to increase fidelity on this one to about half. The reason why I'm doing this is that this is a cave map, and if you keep fidelity at a minimum, the walls will be a little messed up. So I recommend increasing a little bit. Don't go too far to the end, otherwise your walls are going to be too many and the scene might be too heavy for your players to load, and dynamic vision is going to be going crazy every time somebody moves a token. But here is a good spot to have it for this particular map. So I keep padding at 0.05. Keep the web peak quality at 1, everything set here. So now I'm gonna choose my file and I'm gonna go to where my maps are. So in this case, I'm opening here the directory, one moment. Some battle maps. I chose the file and now I have the dd2 VTT file, which is included on the zip file that you can download from my Patreon page, which is on the description. And then once you load that, you click import. That's gonna load the scene here for us. So we can see it popping up here. Make sure you wait until the process is done and you can click view scene and it's gonna show the map with everything here. So as you can see, the map is loaded and it already has all the walls. So the walls are all in place and it also has the lights, as you can see here, already in place and everywhere. And it has that padding around it, right? As you can see, I have 2 squares on each side and 3 squares on the top and bottom of the map, so I can drag tokens and hide things from the players if I need to. I could also obviously use the dead space that is here, but it's nice to have a little bit of padding. If you don't want to, just set it to 0 and there you go, right? So now that the scene is in, I'm gonna go to configure here and I'm gonna change some settings. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change that base color from the padding. I'm gonna change that to black. So now you can see it matches more everything. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to grid. And if you zoom in here, you'll see that I have a grid, right? I have the default Foundry grid that you can see there. I'm gonna disappear with that because I already know that it fits the grid because I made the map and it's 100 PPI with the grid size here. So it's already fitting and I already know that. So save changes. There we go. So now I have no grid and I have all the walls already set. Now, one thing I like to do is to set the canvas to start at the right spot. So I click here, I position and zoom in where I want. So, when I load the scene, I want it to be like here so that the players can see their tokens, which is it's gonna be on the starting spot right here. So I just click here on initial view position, save changes. Great. And now what I want to do is fix those lights, right? So some of these lights, I use them on my map creation for decoration, and it creates an excessive amount of lights here that we don't need. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete all the lights except for one. So this is supposed to be some bioluminescence coming from this fungi. And so I'm going to create one light that encapsulates that. So I'm opening the light that is left here. I'm going to put a coloring that is like, you know, this kind of blue green color. I'm going to leave it at like 0.3 intensity on the color. Then light configuration, I'm going to choose Fairy Light. Fairy Light makes it swirl like a rainbow, as you can see here. And I'm going to put the speed at 1 because I want it to slowly swirl, and the intensity at 3. And then on the size of the light, I'm going to make it 25 dim light and 0 bright light. So there's no bright light, it's just dim bioluminescence coming from the mushrooms. And I'm going to click update. 25 may be a little too big. I'm going to set to 20. There we go. So, and I'm going to move this light right at the center of the room here. So it essentially illuminates this entire room. I'm going to copy it with Ctrl+C, and I'm going to paste it also here. So it illuminates that part. And I'm going to copy paste it on the back here. And I'm going to paste another one here. So instead of having, you know, 10 lights, I'm going to have 4 here. I could have 3. It could be also fine. I could remove this one, for example, and have a little bit of darkness here in the tunnel, which is totally okay. So this is the bioluminescence of the area. Now, because there's something like that as well on the other part of the cave, here on the last chamber, I'm gonna copy that light there, and I'm gonna increase it to 35, and here we go. So this is also a rainbow. I'm going to go ahead and increase the intensity on this one because I want it to be a little more shiny. So we're just gonna keep that way. And then here I added lights for decoration on my map, but those lights are not really there. This is a dark chamber. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and delete the lights here because we don't need them. I want the jewels to glow when the players come here with their own source of light. They will see these garnets glowing, but they're not gonna emanate light on their own. So this is the lights. Oh, and then we have a fireplace here on this chamber, which we can probably do like a 20 and then a 10 of bright light. Set the color here to like 3.5. And then animation, we're gonna have torch. I like to put this at 3 and position it so it's right at the center, and then we have there a fireplace pulsating with the proper light. Okay, so we fixed the lights, all the fungi, the fire, and this last room here. I'm maybe gonna put another one on the other side here as well. There we go. So we have 2 lights. So the lights are done. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag some extra tiles, which will also come on the zip that is linked on the description. So you can open here the tile browser, go to the directory or where you saved your tiles. So in my case, they're all here on assets, battle maps. That's where I keep them. So in this case, first thing, we have a trap in this room. So I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna set it as overhead, and I'm gonna lock it because this won't move, and I'm gonna make it invisible. When the players come here, they will trigger this tile, and then I'll make it visible, and boom, it's on their head, right? So the idea here is, and I want to make it so it does not fade. None, always visible, right? So you click on overhead, none, always visible, because I don't want the players, I want the players to see their token crushed by this thing when it falls on their head. One other thing I forgot to mention are the 2 sacks that are illusions around the Minotaur here on the trap area. So I placed the boulder, but I'm going to place now the 2 sacks, which are just this tile. So I'm going to drag them here into the map, and I'm going to slowly position them like here. And these are not going to be overhead, they're just going to be here. And then whenever the players go grab them or something, then, you know, you can make them invisible because they're really not there. They're just luring the players out to that trap. Another thing that we have here is the illusion that the DAO creates in this room. So you can see it's a banquet room, it's some kind of parlor, but it's all ruin in reality. But on top of these ruins, they cast an illusion. That's the room that I made here. So I'm placing it here, and I'm also locking it. And this one is not going to be overhead because the players are going to walk all over this. And as you see, there's a light here, which there's supposed to be a crystal chandelier hanging from the ceiling, right? I didn't put it on the map, but that's the description. So what I did is you just, create a light here. And I think it can be here. And I will make it a flickering light, and I will make it yellowish, so it looks like candlelight. 3, 3. There we go. So we have a light on that room. When the players dispel the illusion, all you have to do is come here and make this tile invisible, and they will see the cave. And then if they are still seeing the illusion, you can turn it back on. I also recommend that you fix the walls around this area. So you can see the walls are set by the cave, right? So you can adjust them here really quick and make them fit the room so that the illusion looks realistic. And it's not gonna match the walls underneath, that's true. But for me, that's okay. I think you don't have to fix it on the fly. If the walls look a little off, it's important that the illusion looks real when they arrive in this room. All right. Next tile. We are gonna do this lime. So there's green slime in this particular area of the map. I am gonna put some here and here. So I have a big and a small one. You can hold Ctrl and mouse wheel this and rotate it any way you want. You can stretch it and make it bigger. You can squeeze it and make it smaller. Go crazy with it, do what you want. What I do is I'm gonna place them as overhead. I'm gonna place them as none always visible so that they are on top of people's tokens. And I'm gonna copy paste a couple of them, and this one here, copy paste this one here. And I'm gonna select all of them, and I'm going to, oh, these one are not overhead. There we go. Overhead, none, always visible. And then what I'm gonna do is I will select all of them and I will make them invisible. So the players will not see them, but when the slime falls on their head, I will just click here, overhead, and I'm gonna make them visible. And there you go. This is how you update that trap. So there's that. What else do we have? We have a boat. In this area, there's a boat, and I also have a tile for that. So we are going to open. Here's the boat. I'm gonna position the boat here. I'm gonna rotate it. There we go. Boat's in position. All right, now last, I'm going to put the overhead tile. So this is what's gonna give this place depth, guys. The overhead tile is the ultimate immersion item on this map. So I'm gonna open it here. I'm gonna set it to foreground layer. I'm gonna open, and then I'll find the overhead tile. So this is my overhead tiles over here. I'm going to drag this to the side. I will zoom out so I have space, and I will drop it like this. Looks like it's okay. Yep, it's matching. Perfect. I am gonna lock this. I am gonna set it. I don't need to set it to overhead because it already is. And what I'm gonna do is overhead. I'm gonna set it to none. And I'm gonna set the basic here. I'm gonna set the transparency to 7.5. Great. Now, as you can see, we have the overhead beams and rocks, but they are semi-transparent. So when the players walk below them, they will still see their token. They won't be lost. They won't lose their token underneath some fungi, and it will be all right. Now with this tile, it creates that shadow effect around the edges of the cave. So for example, if I put a monster here, let's grab the clay golem, right? So the clay golem is here, and you see that his token is sliding underneath the edges. And this is also going to happen to your players, you see? So he, as he moves through the tunnel, is under the tiles. Now if I give him a torch, so we can see colored here, you'll see better what's going on, right? So the whole idea of the overhead tiles is to create this sense of immersion, right? And that's how it works. And last but not least, I am going to set this to darkness because it is a cave and there is no source of light here except for the light that the players will bring with them. So I'm going to go ahead here, I'm going to set it to full darkness. There we go. Click the little moon symbol. Everything goes to dark except for the torch light that we have here on our clay golem. I'm going to delete this guy. And this is how it's going to look at the start, guys. Very dark, very ominous and atmospheric. And one thing I also recommend here is you can make these walls terrain walls. So you can select the walls and then you can double click it and you set light restriction to limited, sight to limited, sound to limited, update, and now they are terrain walls. So that's something you can do, which is also interesting. That's it, guys. So if you have any doubts, message me on Discord, find me on the interwebs, leave a comment down below, whatever. Enjoy the adventure and I hope you have fun with the map. Bye bye.